Chapter 31. Chris. I slowly let the door close behind me, without taking my eyes off Mark. I'm not sure what to say or do. It's not like we were being quiet. Hell, we thought we were alone in the house. Then a thought hits me. Did she even tell her parents? They have to know though, right? Since she stayed last weekend with me alone, plus the fact that they got her on birth control. Noticing where Mark's eyes are looking, I look down at my tattoo. This is going to either make this not so bad for me or make it so much worse. I hate that he isn't talking because in the end, he can stop me from seeing her. Or at least stop me from coming over here because I would find a way to still see her. After a very long silence, he takes a deep breath. So, you sleep with my daughter now? He asked. I have slept next to her a few times, yes, I say, knowing that isn't what he is talking about, but maybe he will think it is funny. I meant you are having sex with my daughter, smartass, he replies, so he didn't think it was funny. Just as I start to open my mouth to answer him, Rachel comes storming in the kitchen.
Dad, really?
She fusses. Stacy walks up and leans on the fridge next to me, but I just watch my girl.
This should be fun.
She laughs, so I turn to look at her as I whisper, is she in trouble? And drop my head. Stacy doesn't answer, she only shakes her head. So I turn back to my girl. What do you have to say? Mark asks, so I look at him. I love her, is all I say.
I love you,
she says, walking over to me. Wrapping my arms around her, I look up at Mark. Do you use protection? Mark asks, and Rachel turns white, making me laugh as I shake my head. What if she ends up pregnant? Mark asks, as Rachel protests.
Stop!
She is on birth control, I answer.
That isn't 100%, sweetie.
Stacy says behind us, as Rachel buries her face in my chest and starts to cry. I wonder what the questions are for. Not that I'm saying I would want her to be because she just made captain and is only 16, but if she was, I would still love her. I would make sure all her medical bills was changed to my doctor's on my dime. I would give her whatever she needed and wanted for life. I answer as I look at my girl crying in my arms. Come here, I whisper and pick her up. So she wraps her legs around my waist and buries her face in my neck. Looking at Mark, I see his mouth open in shock. I guess that wasn't the answer he was expecting. Still wondering about why they would ask in the first place, I ask, why are you asking this? I don't get an answer, but Stacy shakes her head while Mark looks like a deer in headlights. So I turn and walk to Rachel's room as I lay her on the bed. When I get her laid down, I get in bed with her. Laying here cuddled up to my girl, I can't get the question out of my head, so I ask, Rachel, are you pregnant? At first, she doesn't say anything, but finally answers,
No.
So I roll her on her back. Why are you crying then? I ask, and pray she will tell me.
Because my dad embarrassed me and messed up my great afternoon,
she whispers. How did he mess up your afternoon? I ask, then kiss her.
It doesn't bother you that he asked you that?
She asks me, and looks confused. No, I whisper, as I kiss her neck. Rachel pulls on my arm, so I roll over on top of her. Leaning down, I make out with this amazing girl. Rachel starts to grind her hips into mine, making me moan, so I pull back. Baby, I don't care if your parents are home. If you keep that up, I will fuck you again, I say, making her smile as she does it again. Really? I ask with a laugh, as she grinds into me again. After a moment or so, she starts to turn red and turns her head away from me. Leaning over so she is looking at me, I whisper, No, ma'am. You can do that shy thing to everybody but me, making her smile.
Chris, make love to me?
She says, and leans up to kiss my neck. With pleasure, I answer, as I reach between us to pull my dick out and move her panties to the side. Sliding into my girl's wet pussy, I moan, and she pulls me closer to her. Holding her as tight as I can without hurting her, I thrust in and out of her. As I up the speed of my thrust some, she starts to moan louder, almost shouting my name. So I kiss her since her parents are here. Fuck, baby, I pant out as I ride my girl. Kissing her neck, she moans, so I start to suck her neck. I know there will be a mark, making me smile.
Trying to mark me?
She laughs, so I whisper, mine.
Is that right?
She asks, with a laugh. So I stop moving, making her whine. Yes, I say, as she starts to rock her hips. So I start to pump in and out of her again. Leaning down, I make out with my girl. Running my tongue across her lips, she opens her mouth to me, so I play with her tongue. After a moment, she starts to play with my lip ring with her tongue, making me laugh. When we pull apart, I ask, "You really like doing that?" Making her laugh and nod her head. Giving one final thrust, I release into her as she has her own release. Laying my head on the pillow next to her, I try to catch my breath. Damn, I am thirsty. I really should have got something to drink earlier. When I can breathe again, I whisper, I need a drink. Rachel tightens her hold on me, so I lift up. Looking at her, I smile. Baby, I want you to think of something. If it bothered me that there is a chance, I would use a condom, even with you on birth control. But I don't, because I don't care if you do.
Really?
She whispers, so I add, Rachel, you just made captain, and you are still in high school, and I don't want to mess that up for you because of me. Making her smile, go to a sad face, making me laugh as I kiss her. Now, when you turn 18 and you're done with high school, then I will try to get you pregnant, I say, as I put my hand on her stomach.
But then you won't be able to suck on my breast.
She jokes, so I look at her, then her chest. Why not? I ask in a baby voice.
They will be for the baby.
She answers, making me laugh as I cup her breast. You have two. I can share, I whisper, as I kiss her nipple through her shirt. Licking my lips, I go to get up. I need a drink, baby, I say, making her laugh.
Will you come back?
She asks, as I get to the door. Do you want me to stay the night? I ask, with a huge smile, as she nods her head. If it is okay with your parents, I can stay tonight, but I have stuff to do tomorrow, I add. I open the door as she whispers,
Crap.
So I turn to her.
Liz took your car to the shop, and my car is at the hotel, so how will I give her a ride tomorrow?
She asks, so I think for a moment. Do you want your car or mine? I ask, as she gives me a confused look. So I add, if you want your car, I can have Jake or Max bring it over here, or if you want mine, I can call Max, and if she is still at the shop, just ask her to keep the car and pick you up in the morning. Thinking for a moment, she answers,
Your car.
In a baby voice. Laughing, I walk out the door, closing it behind me as I pull out my phone to text Max. Is Liz still at the shop? Yes, but she wants to leave. James is busy. I offered to take her home, but she said no. Can you ask her if she will keep my car and pick up Rachel in the morning? She said yes. She is leaving now. LOL. LOL stands for laughing out loud. Walking in the kitchen, I get some water and down the bottle. As I go to walk back to Rachel's room, I hear, Can we talk? So I turn to the living room to find Mark. Sitting on the couch, I look at Mark, but he doesn't say anything at first, making me nervous. After a few minutes, Stacy comes in the living room and states,
Mark, be nice.
but that only adds to my nerves. I will say this, man, that wasn't the answer I was expecting. Mark finally says, so I ask, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, that wasn't the answer Blake gave when I asked him that question. Mark answers, making me confused. Blake never slept with her. I answer, maybe sounding annoyed. I know he didn't, thankfully. Mark says, sounding relieved. Why was she crying? He adds, after a moment of silence. You embarrassed her, man. I say, with a laugh. And laugh harder when Stacy whispers,
Told you so.
Standing, I ask, can I stay the night? Making Stacy laugh as she nods. So I go back to my girl. Walking in the room, all the lights are out, so I take my clothes off and get into bed with her. Rolling over, Rachel lays her head on my chest and goes back to sleep. I watch her sleep for a while before I go to sleep myself. It feels like no time passes before the alarm on her phone wakes me up. As Rachel gets up, I do the same so I can get dressed. After we are dressed, we walk outside to wait on Liz. I go to the backyard and push my bike around to the front. When I get to the front, I see Rachel on her phone. I put the stand up and lean on the bike as I ask, so is she going to get you?
Yes,
She says, walking over to me and standing between my legs. We lost track of time as we make out until we hear,
Do you want to ride or not?
so we turn to see Liz. Laughing, Rachel walks to the car as she says,
it's my boyfriend's car.
I walk over to the car and lean in the window. Your dad is military, right? Looking down, Liz says,
Yes, Marines, and so is my brother. Why?
just asking. I smile because I want it to be a surprise for her. Giving my girl one more kiss, I move for them to leave. Jumping on the bike, I head to the apartment. Walking in, all the lights are out, so I go to my room. Sitting on my bed, I pull out my books and see what I need to do. I know I'm not behind, I just need to see what I did on the computer, so I don't redo the same paper. After I get all the papers I did on the computer out, I find one that I haven't done yet, but it isn't due until next week. So I pull out my book to work on it. Just as I finish it up, I see Josh walk by my room. Walking backwards, he looks into my room, making me laugh. When did you get here? He asks. So I look at the clock. A few hours ago, I answer. I put my books in my bag and stand to go get coffee. Just as I walk out of the room, a girl walks out of Josh's room.
Chris?
I hear. So I turn around to find my sister and I get pissed. What are you doing? I whisper, very annoyed.
What?
She asks and looks at the bedroom door. You better not be using him, Jess. I grit. She doesn't answer, she only looks at the floor. Yet you wonder why you can't find a great guy, Jess. Try not using guys, and you could find a good guy. I add, and go to the kitchen.
What are you saying? Josh isn't a great guy?
She asks, so I spin around. Is he the only guy you are sleeping with? I ask, already knowing the answer, unless she has changed. She only leans on the counter, looking guilty. Unbelievable, I whisper, and make my coffee. Josh walks in the kitchen, so I hand him a cup of coffee. Josh looks over at Jess, then at me, and I'm sure I look pissed. We stand in silence as me and Josh sip on our coffee. Jess walks to the bedroom, so it is just me and Josh in the kitchen, so I whisper, do you like her? He chokes on his coffee, but after he can breathe, he says, kinda. I don't say anything, I just walk back to my room. As I get dressed for the day, I hear both of them talking, but I can't make out what they're saying. I hear a knock on my door, but I am so annoyed, I yell, go away! As I hear the door open, I spin around to find Max standing there, smiling as he says, no. I laugh as I finish getting dressed and Max grabs my bag. Office or school? Max asks, as we walk out of my room. School, I answer. We stop in the living room as Max turns to Josh. School? Max asks. Josh doesn't say anything. He just stands up and walks to his room, so Max turns to me. Right after Josh goes to his room, Jess walks out of his room. Unbelievable, Max whispers as she grabs her bag. Josh walks out of his room and looks around. You three don't get along very well, do you? He asks.
He is just a total ass,
Jess says, really pissing me off, but as I go to say something, Josh cuts in. Enough! Look, I don't give a damn about who y'all are. You are my boss. You are dating my sister, and you I fuck. There is one person in this room I will stand up for.
What, am I just a girl you fuck?
Jess cuts him off. Was it ever more than that for you? Josh asks, but she doesn't have an answer. My point exactly. If you would try looking for something other than just sex, you may find a great guy. I knew from the start what you wanted, but I didn't care. I wanted sex, nothing more, at first. But then I started to have feelings for you, and that was my mistake. What I do care about is my sister, and she loves your brother. So for me, that is more important than sex, because I can get that somewhere else. I did like you, but at least I can say you are the only person I have slept with since we started having sex. Can you say the same? He just looks at Jess for a moment, but gets no answer. She knows she can't lie to him without me calling her out. I hate that my sister goes through shit like this, but at the same time, she does this to herself. Josh takes a deep breath, then adds, See, that doesn't work for me. If it is just sex, fine, but that doesn't mean I want to be sleeping with someone that is sleeping around. Jess starts to cry, and I really do feel bad for her. Josh walks to the door and opens it, but all he says is, sorry, then walks out. I turn to Jess, but I don't know what to say because Josh was right in what he said. Do you need a ride home? Max asks Jess, as she nods. Pulling out his phone, Max makes a call as Jess whispers,
The hotel.
What was that? Max asks. So I repeat, she wants to go back to her hotel, not our parents. Turning to Jess, I whisper, Please think about what Josh said, and then walk out. Getting to the parking lot, I see Josh sitting in his car, so I walk over to it and notice he is crying. When I knock on the glass, he jumps, then rolls the window down. I'm sorry, man, I whisper, and hate what he is going through. Wiping his eyes, he looks at me. It better not just be about sex with my sister, or I will beat the hell out of you. I put my hands on the windowsill, and Josh looks at my arm, where I have his sister's name tattooed, so I think of something. Hey man, want to see my new tattoo? Making him laugh, so I take my shirt off. Josh looks at my tattoo for a moment, then smiles. I love her, man, I say, as I put my shirt back on, then add, Do you want me to move out? He looks at me confused, but just then I see Jess walk out of the apartment, so I point up to her. Why would I want you to move out? He laughs, then adds, Tell her sorry. Sadly, man, this isn't the first time she's been in this position. I say with a frown.